in the next 30 minutes. National Lottery Authority cited in a case of alleged single-sourced procurement infraction involving the purchase of devices worth over 20 million Ghana cedis. Details from Public Accounts Committee hearing. We'll bring you that shortly. Also, near fisticuffs in Parliament as MP for Asin Central, Canada, Japan charges at MP for English Yamanfro Law Sylvester Tete over claims he owes him. Later in this bulletin, Africa Education Watch demands clear guidelines and protocols for managing health crisis in schools in the wake of controversy surrounding the death of a student of a Brigel Senior High School as GES opens investigations into the incident. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. The National Lottery Authority has been fingered in a case of alleged single-sourced procurement infraction involving the purchase of devices worth over 20 million Ghana cedis. Years after the purchase, the devices are almost obsolete without being deployed due to technical difficulties of compatibility. The matter came up at the Public Accounts Committee hearing today. Here are excerpts.
Very well. Now, what is delaying and you deploying the rest for your services? Because if you are saying that within 5 years or for having been about 5 years, the apps are becoming odious and obsolete. Clearly, if we are not able to replace them or upgrade them, then the machines may not be put to use at all. So I want to urge you to deploy them quickly so that they can bring in some revenue for the states, so to speak. Chairman, I'll end it here.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. We will do that. We will take the Honourable Member of Parliament's advice. Thank you very much.
Honourable, you see.
Chairman, thank you. Chairman, I've listened to the conversation. In my opinion, I think this is very scandalous. It is scandalous to the extent that you spend 20.4 million of the taxpayers' money through sole sourcing. And the justification is that because there was some kind of agency. Now you receive these machines only for you to keep them in your warehouse. So where is the agency here? In any case, the auditors have established that the justification that you have given doesn't sit well with the law. Because you cannot say that you are doing that under agency only when you receive the items and you store them in your warehouse. Let us be serious. I think that some of these issues should be looked at very well. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. But that's why we've taken steps to remedy the situation and to.
And you heard that interaction there between officials of the NLA and the Public Accounts Committee. We have Duke Opoku-Mensah in the studio with us. Duke, you've been following this. First, give us extra details as regards what transpired in Parliament today.
So the National Lotteries Authority procured over 2,000 point-of-sale devices or POS machines, which is used for conducting their business for this, lottery business, which they engaged in. And in pre-COVID times, the machines came in, but they realized that there were some technical incompatibility issues, i.e. the software and how it was written, soft details of how this was going to be used. They felt that they thought that the third-party software, or they noticed that the third-party software that had been written into the machine was not compatible with their own software, and this issue could not be resolved or has not been resolved up until now. So it's still locked up in their warehouses, and they are trying to find ways and means of deploying these machines. Over 2,000 of them, or total, the cost of it is over 20 million Ghana cedis, and they used a single source procurement method to get these machines, and years down the line, it's still being rotten away, if you like, in the NLA's warehouse.
We heard that brief explanation from the official at the NLA, of course, ending it with Samia Wuku. Was there any further details as regards why 2020, right? That's COVID-19
Yes.
time. And now there seems to have been nothing done to resolve this so those equipment could be used.
So the explanation they are giving is that they are trying to find out how they can unlock this software issue with the what do you call it, with the with people they procured this from. I think there are some Chinese company that they procured this from, to try and unlock that so that they will be able to use it and also give part of these machines to their the lotto marketing agents that they work with, so that these machines can be put to good use. They are estimating that they can recoup at least 11 million Ghana cedis from the deployment of these machines if they're able to resolve the software issues, which they are actually actively working on to be able to unlock.
All right. So now let's talk about what is likely to happen, because I know that the Public Accounts Committee has some authority to give some directives. Are you able to tell us what could happen in this particular case?
So so Samir Wuku has made some commitments that in the coming days they are going to work on fully resolving this issue. He would have to report it to the auditors, and then the auditors would have to make some audit findings and then write to the Public Accounts Committee. So if not for anything at all, the next time the NLA comes, they will be asked to give an update on how far they have gone in terms of making these machines, usable or putting them to good use.
An update, that would be like accounting for what we've paid for. But let's talk about the punishment bit of this.
Usually...
because you know that, like I said, the committee could surcharge, and recently there have been some issuance of surcharges.
Last week the NIA boss, Professor Kenatefa was himself and his financial controller for the NIA were surcharged for over 970,000 Ghana cedis involving issues of non-payment of SNET deductibles that they were supposed to have taken. They delayed in the statutory account, and because of that, they had to be surcharged for that. So the Public Accounts Committee has that power, and they have to use it. Just that in this case, I don't think the chairman and the committee members do not find it needful to use it, especially knowing that the machines are still there. It's just that they are not being put to use, and they are wasting away or rotting away, really.
Duke, before you go, we also do know that there was another issue with the NLA concerning another official. Are you able to give us details on that?
Yes, so the financial controller for the NLA, or the director of finance, has attained the age of 60, which in a public service means that he should be going on retirement. But we're told that, and the explanations Amioku gave was that, being a director of finance for an organization like NLA, he just cannot get up and go. So he's been able to secure a 3-month moratorium from the board of the NLA to have him stay on for 3 months at least, to make transitional provisions for the next director of finance who will come along.
We look forward to seeing what will happen with this case and the many others that the Public Accounts Committee is looking into. But thank you very much, Duke Opoku-Mensah, for bringing us details of that particular issue. We stay in Parliament, and it was an unexpected charge by the member of the House for Asin Central, Kennedy Japan, the lawmaker of Englishi Amanfro, when Sylvester Tete approached the Asin Central MP to exchange pleasantries, only for him to be nearly attacked by Kennedy Japan, who claimed his colleague MP owed him. If you're watching us on Facebook, you will see the video, but Komla Kluche is in Parliament. He joins us live. Komla, tell us again what sparked this near attack.
Well, it's unclear what actually sparked it. It's been read by many as a private, quote-unquote, disagreement both of them have, which is moved onto the floor of the House. But what I saw from where I sat was that when Kennedy entered in, the chamber, the usual thing, after his bid to the presidential candidate, anytime he walks into the chamber, they give him the usual accolade of the presido and all that. I saw Sly approach from wherever he was. He equally tried to give, so to speak, that same funds. It did appear that because of that underlying disagreement, a private one, we are told, which we cannot confirm, between both of them, Ken didn't take lightly to it. And so it had to take the deputy majority leader to whisk away Sly as Kennedy Japan walked towards him, visibly angry. As to what he was going to do to him, we are unable to tell. He walked towards him, and that actually was the prevention of what could have been a near brawl or the exchange of fisticuffs. I can tell you that the House was in full swing. There was a making of a statement, contribution by members on a statement made by one of the MPs on girls in ICT and science. This was ongoing. The first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Owusu, was in the chair by then, but he actually didn't even look the way of where the controversy was, but allowed the House to continue. It didn't actually disrupt the proceedings of the House, though.
So, Komlo, at least I can understand from what you're saying that when he was whisked away, I'm talking about the MP for English, Yamanfro, it ended the whole scene. Is that right?
Yes, it did. It did end because Ken walked towards him, towards the exit, towards the speaker's, the chamber of the speaker or his office, the holding side around the chamber. But Ken didn't go through that exit door. But you could see from the video that he was visibly angry. Well, as to what he wanted to do with him, we are unable to tell.
Komla, we know that it was just, I believe, less than 3 weeks ago that Parliament outdoored the new standing orders. How would you place this in, this very situation, in the new standing orders that have been adored, and what could happen?
To the extent that the Speaker's attention has not been drawn to this, the Speaker's eye did not catch it, the cameras caught it. Nobody has brought it to the attention of the Speaker. And so, presumably, the Speaker knows absolutely nothing about it as you speak, because it was happening where we sat as members of the press. Yes, it was ongoing. However, the Speaker did not make a comment or even look towards that. And that is where the difficulty is, whether it would even be brought to his attention or it would be dragged to the Privileges Committee. We cannot tell. But it's quite obvious that the Speaker did not see it. There's the more reason he didn't complain or he didn't comment on it.
Finally, before you go, what else is happening on the floor?
The water shortage in the northern region has been brought by the Tamale South MP to the attention of the Speaker. Is asking government to, as a matter of urgency, deal with it. You recall that when the flag bearer of the NDC was in the north last week, he specifically spoke about the shortage of water or water not flowing despite their works to extend water to parts of Yendi and then the north. Is asking the government to, as a matter of urgency, address the challenge as it's bringing untoward hardship to the people of the north, especially in the Tamale metropolis.
Thank you very much. Comprehensive report there. Komla Klucher reporting live from Parliament. Thank you. I'm joined by Dr. Rashid Rahman. He's the Executive Director of ASEPA. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Beatrice.
You've seen the video, your own reaction.
Yeah, I've seen the video. I think my immediate reaction is that we have to appeal to our members of parliament to be as parliamentary and as honorable as possible as their title directs them to be. Because you see, today, because of the power of the technology and media, whatever happens in every corner of parliament is usually seen by all our citizenry. And I think that, the last thing that we want is to see our members of parliament who make laws and who tell every citizen that if you have any disagreement, the best way to resolve that disagreement is to go through the proper kind of channels laid out in a democracy like ours. Certainly, resorting to trying to use your fist or, the power of your body, I believe is not one of those procedures for resolving differences in our republic.
So this is below the belt, in your words, unparliamentary?
Well, I mean, certainly it's not parliamentary because we don't want to see our members of parliament fighting in the House.
How do you think the new standing orders of parliament would apply here?
Well, I think the standing orders, there has been, some effort to see if the work of the Privileges Committee, for instance, can be improved, even though I am not still convinced, because over and over, incident after incident, it looks like the Privileges Committee has not been able to mete out any serious sanction to any member of parliament that I know of. To the extent that some of us at one point were calling for maybe some outside regulatory body, maybe of eminent Ghanaians, that will be responsible for looking at matters that involve members of parliament, because they have demonstrated over the years that they cannot look their own in the face and dish out any punishment to their own. Either it becomes quickly kind of degenerating into a party kind of affair, or it becomes a personal friendship affair, or a church religious mosque affair.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Dr. Rashid Rahman. He's the Executive Director of ASEBA. Thank you so much for speaking to us now. The Africa Education Watch is demanding a clear guideline and protocol for managing health cases in schools in the country. This follows the controversy surrounding the death of a first-year Ebri Girls Senior High School student. The family of the late Stacey Autry, who died on February 4, is accusing school authorities of inaction, leading to her untimely demise. This is not the first time school officials have been accused over the death of a student. Let's take you through some widely reported cases that have occurred over the years. In March 2013, Efiakobi Girls Senior High School, there was a final year student who died following refusal by authorities to go home for medical attention. In October 2017, there was another one at Bolga Senior High School in the Upper East region where a student died after a report of delayed exit. In February 2020, Dramana Akintin Senior High School, we had a second-year male student dying in dormitory after being denied permission to go home. Just last year, St. Monica Senior High School, female student died shortly after being denied exit to go home for medical help. And of course, in February 2024, Ebri Girls Senior High School, which has sparked this controversy, female student dying amid allegations authorities failed to provide emergency medical assistance. Now, in the wake of this development, education think tank EduWatch says the handling of health cases cannot be left to the discretion of teachers and school authorities. In a statement, the group called for a clear protocol to guide such cases and avert needless deaths and the associated tension. Its executive director, Kofi Asare, is suggesting the initiation of meaningful reforms of health management systems in senior high schools.
We must have a policy on health and safety in our senior high schools. That's the first thing. Within this policy's context, we must have clear protocols for the establishing, the resourcing, the management of sick bays or infirmaries. Then we should also have guidelines or protocols for the management of cases when they emerge in school, so that it doesn't become anyone's discretion to ensure that a child who requires medical attention gets seen within reasonable time. When these are done, they should be factored into the KPIs and then the monitoring indicators that school support officers go to school and monitor. So that as part of their regular or routine monitoring visits, when they go to a school and check for teacher absenteeism, and then go to a school and monitor pedagogy, monitor how teaching is being delivered, okay, they will also, in addition to that, monitor how the sick bays are being managed and whether there are any challenges that require the support of the Ghana Education Service. That is how we should run our schools, to make them safe, livable, communities where our students can live, go there, live there, and then learn. So far as we have accepted, even though I'm against that our secondary education system will be
boarding as a norm and day as an exception, we have to ensure that the high 80% or 70% of students who are boarders have the facilities and the human resources and the services they require as if they were in the house.
And you heard that Kofi Osare, he's the executive director of the Africa Education Watch. Now, Charles Aheto Chega is a former director of the GES, the Ghana Education Service. I'll be speaking to him very shortly, but I have a copy of a statement issued by the Ghana Education Service. Let me read that to you, and then I'll have that conversation with Charles Ahecha. Okay, so I will speak to, I will bring you that statement shortly, but let me go to Mr. Ahecha. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me to this session.
As a former director of the GES, I mean, you've had, I just read through, I don't know whether you had the opportunity to listen to the cases we've had over the years, I think since 2013. We cannot continue to have this situation, can we?
Oh, yes, I say good afternoon to your listeners, and I think I agree with you. We cannot seriously continue to have these cases, and it certainly looks like somebody has closed one eye to this very important situation that is affecting our education in our schools.
So my understanding is that people are sleeping on their jobs.
Oh, yes, I think so. Some people are sleeping on their jobs because I think we have had one too many cases to be able to gloss over this kind of situation. It's very, very upsetting, and in fact, you don't know the pain until it hits you. But I think that, in my view, NAGRAT has told its members that please do what you can do to ensure that you don't find yourself in situations like this. If a child wants an exit to go home, I mean, don't pretend that in locus parentis gives you excessive authority over the children's parents. Listen to the child and be reasonable to let the child go home. I mean, why do we wait? Why do we have to wait on all of these things?
Why have we allowed people to sleep on their jobs and failed to crack the whip all these years? You've been at the GES before. Why?
Honestly, I cannot even give you a reason why we have still allowed this situation to persist and why some people seem to be sleeping on their jobs. But I think I have an idea which gives me the impression that, in some schools, children have played tricks with health situations, and the authorities have tried as much as possible to try and confront them with these some kind of response which will ensure that they don't take the school for a ride. But that it could be one case. That could be another case that comes up, but every case must be treated as unique. So that you don't say that, oh no, you people, you are used to lying about your headaches and lying about your stomach, so you always want to go home. No, when the thing persists, it is enough trigger for you to know that the child needs more than you can do, because inside the school there is no health situation and there's no health circumstance there.
Mr. Chika, before you go, some have suggested the need to establish protocols for dealing with health cases. Is that the way to go to deal with this, aside from your displeasure over the people sleeping on their jobs?
I think I want to agree, because it has come up before where somebody has even gone to suggest that we should link our schools to the general hospitals and ensure that, and I heard Kofi Asare say something to the effect that, when you link this, then we have people from hospitals coming to supervise and coming to check the situation of school infirmaries and giving special reports for action to be taken by the GES, so that we avoid this kind of situation.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. And that was Charles Aheto Chega. He's a former director of the GES. Let me now bring you that statement from the Ghana Education Service. And it says the management of the Ghana Education Service extends its deepest condolences to the family of the late Stacey Autry, a first-year student of a Brigel Senior High School. This sad incident occurred on February 4, 2024, after a short illness. Our thoughts and prayers are with the bereaved family during this difficult time time. I'll jump to the last bit. It says, meanwhile, in initial... okay, so let me just continue with the details. It says the Director General of GES, Dr. Eric Nkansa, today, Monday, so that came out yesterday, rather, led a delegation to the school and thereafter to the residents of the bereaved family to commiserate with them. The delegation, among other things, inspected the school's 15-bed infirmary and interacted with the nurses at the facility. Management has also deployed a 9-member team of counselors to beef up the guidance and counseling department of the school to provide psychosocial support for the students and staff. The last paragraph says, meanwhile, internal investigation is ongoing and management is also working closely with the law enforcement agencies to independently investigate the matter. GS assures our stakeholders and the general public of our continuous commitment to ensuring a safe and secure learning environment for our students. And that was signed by the head of Public Relations Unit, Cassandra Chum Ampofo. Now, rural, we bring you the story about fertility issues in women in Ghana, which is said fertility, which is said to have declined by almost 40% in respect of data gathered on women from 1988 to 2022. And that's according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Rural women have more children than urban women. By region, fertility ranges from 3 children per woman in Greater Accra to almost 7 children per woman in the Northeast region. Emmanuel, okay, so we'll bring you some more of that later, but ahead of that, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has called on ECOWAS and the Sahel regions to increase funding towards efforts to eliminate anti-personnel land mines. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is confident the financial support will help provide safety net for land mine survivors. He was speaking at the official opening of a 3-day conference on addressing humanitarian and impact of line mines in Accra.
According to mine sweepers, it is currently estimated that there are about 110 million landmines scattered across the globe. While the individual cost of mines ranges from $3 to $30 US, the expense of their removal varies significantly and ranging from $300 to $1,000 per mine. Considering these figures, the total expenditure for clearing all existing mines is projected to range from $50 billion US to $100 billion US. However, the Landmine Monitor 2022 report indicates that state parties to the Mine Ban Treaty have destroyed more than 55 million mines, stockpiled anti-personnel mines. This underscores the significant financial commitment made by both states and international organizations worldwide towards the effective implementation of the convention. The landmine.
And you heard the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is also the flag bearer of the governing NPP. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. Our top stories: National Lottery Authority cited in a case of alleged single-sourced procurement infraction involving the purchase of devices worth over 20 million Ghana cedis. We brought you details as well as near fisticuffs in Parliament as MP for Asin Central Canada, Japan charges at MP for English Yamanfu Sylvester Tete over claims he owes him. We also brought you that update from the death of the first-year student at Ebri Girls Senior High School, and that interview with the former director of the GES. My name is Beatrice. Thank you so much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Good afternoon. It's another edition of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Ghanaians' financial risk appetite declines significantly following domestic debt exchange program. Details from 2023 Old Mutual Financial Services Monitor. Also, Social Securities and National Insurance Trust projects over 7 billion cedis payment in pension contributions this year.
Last year, we paid a total of about 5.4 billion Ghana cedis in pensions. And this year, we are projected to be paying about 7 billion Ghana cedis in pensions by the end of the year.
Plus, cedi expected to face challenges with dollar selling at 12 cedis 80 pesos, putting pressure on exchange rates. We'll bring you the details. My name is Manu. We have details of these and more lined up for you. Stay tuned. Now to our first story. The financial risk appetite of most Ghanaians have declined significantly following the recent government's domestic debt exchange program. According to a 2023 Old Mutual Financial Services Monitor, 43% of Ghanaians are not prepared to take financial risks at all. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details. According to the 2023 Old Mutual Financial Services Monitor, a significant 43% of Ghanaians are hesitant to take any financial risks, reflecting a low-risk inclination, likely influenced by the recent impact of the domestic debt exchange program. However, 24% are willing to take substantial risks in hope of substantial returns, while 19% opt for above-average risks for above-average returns. Surprisingly, 7 out of 10 working Ghanaians do not seek financial advice, with 46% uncertain about where to turn for financial guidance. In terms of business ownership, just over half of working Ghanaians own or co-own small or micro-sized businesses, often relying on personal funds or financing due to limited access to credit. Only 11% receive funding from financial service providers. That was a 3 Business News Desk report. Away from that, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, is projecting to pay over 7 billion cedis in pension contributions this year. This marks a significant increase from the approximately 5 billion cedis recorded in 2023. The Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofuri-Tinkrang, made this announcement on the sidelines of the presentation of 1 million cedis by his outfit to the National Pensioners Association to bolster their pensioners' medical scheme.
So last year, we paid a total of about 5.4 billion Ghana cedis in pensions. And this year, we are projected to be paying about 7 billion Ghana cedis in pensions by the end of the year. Our pension payroll has increased to about 434.6 million Ghana cedis every month. And this money is paid to 244,509 pensioners. That was the number of pensioners we paid in the month of January. Because of the indexation that we did, we announced at the beginning of this year, now under Act 766, the highest pensioner is taking home on a monthly basis 26,509 odd Ghana cedis a month. And the highest pensioner paid under PNDC Law 247 has seen their pensions increase to 186,777 odd Ghana cedis a month.
Dr. John Ofuri-Tinkrang is Director General of the Social Securities and National Insurance Trust. Also, the persistent demand pressures for the dollar would continue to weigh negatively on the cedi's performance this week. This follows a marginal depreciation of the local currency last week, taking its year-to-date loss to about 3%. The following 3 Business News Desk report has more.
Last week, persistent high demand weighed heavily on the cedi's performance, leading to its depreciation against major trading currencies. Despite the central bank's injection of $3 million to support the market, the local currency still weakened by 0.6% against the US dollar, closing at 12 cedis 80 pesos in the retail market. While the cedi depreciated by 0.16% against the pound, it managed to gain 0.19% against the euro. Meanwhile, a meeting convened by global creditors and rating agencies discussed the impact of rating actions on debt-distressed nations like Ghana. The focus was on how these actions have heightened borrowing costs post-debt restructuring. Analysts suggest that a positive revision in rating methodologies for such countries could boost investor confidence in Ghana and potentially improve the cedi's outlook in the medium term. However, the pressure on the cedi is expected.
That was a 3 Business News Desk report. In more stories, importers are demanding clarity from Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on his promise on flat tax proposal when elected as president. The vice president, who is also NPP presidential candidate, at an event held in Accra where he presented his vision when elected as president, declared his dedication to introducing a uniform tax rate on spare parts imports. Speaking to 3 Business Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awingobet, said the policy is unrealistic.
If you actually want to reduce the rate of the tax at the port, you will have to go or write to ECOWAS Commission for them to give you that permit to do some reduction. And if ECOWAS should give you the permission, you have to come back to our parliament for it to rectify it. So I am unable to know which rate he's going to give. Is it that he's going to say, okay, if you bring an invoice value of let's say 100,000 Ghana cedis, we will say we'll pay 50,000 and then carry your container and go. Or if I bring an invoice value of $100,000, you say pay $20,000, then you carry your thing and go away. I don't know how that is going to be done, but it's not going to be an easy thing.
That was Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awingobet. Before we go, our headlines, the top stories for today. Ghanaians' financial risk appetite declines significantly following domestic debt exchange program. Details from 2023 Old Mutual Financial Services Monitor. Also, Social Securities and National Insurance Trust projects over 7 billion cedis payment in pension contributions this year. Plus, cedi expected to face challenges with dollar selling at 12 cedis 80 pesos, putting pressure on exchange rates. We brought you details of these stories and more in our bulletin today. That brings us to the end of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Visit www.3news.com for more business stories. My name is Manu Afful. Do stay tuned. Black Rasta will soon join for Urban Blend.